We already heard some interesting talks today. AI is everywhere, is on corporate level, in business processes, as Moritz told us today from Ernst& Young, but more and more also is in the software development world. And I would like to focus on the fact that AI changes a lot in software development. And yeah, my idea is to target C-level with what I talk about, but at the same time also go very deep to hopefully get the foundations, what's happening during this transition into AI. Generally, the topic of software development, software is eating the world. This is an old sentence already. But still, until now, the topic of software development has not reached C-level attention. Actually, CIO, CTO, yes, but not the strategic dimension. And I think like 5 years ago or 7 years ago, was on a Gartner conference, and there it was the topic of how can the CIO be enabled to better communicate that software is not a cost center anymore, but it's a business enabler. Yeah, it's a necessity for the business. So there's a big this one. Sorry. Okay. Test. Okay. So C-level attention for this topic. And luckily, right, this was one of the questions, right? All topics, but is C-level now listening? And luckily, the topic of AI is something where also now these changes that happen and the strategic dimensions gets to the right attention level. And one thing, that's why I put this illustration here. One thing is big opportunity when using AI in the software development world, but at the same time, it could create a lot of risk. Because using these kind of tools, AI coding tools, or even AI agents, you need to know what you do, right? So you need to have more skills to use this. So again, like everyone said today, human is still in the loop in a slightly different role, but definitely with higher skills. So I'd like to talk today a little bit about the intransparency that is usually the case in big software organizations. So, and because intransparency also means you cannot see something and you cannot see inefficiencies that are there. So I will talk a bit about these inefficiencies and how these can be seen and transformed into more business value add creation with the same amount of people. And then I will also go into the topic of AI, how AI enhances and speeds up this process. So inefficiencies. Oftentimes, if we would be a very technical audience, then we would speak about architecture, about modules, about these things, like how software systems are being built, the ingredients of software systems. I would like to shift the focus a little bit to the people who create this, right? And with people, now I'm still in the pre-AI phase. With people, I mean salaries, budget, right? One of the biggest cost factors or money factors in budget factors in organization is the people, right? The developers. And what we do with Seerene is we can measure how much of developer capacity can already be used for business value create and how much is lost because of inefficiencies. And inefficiencies are multifold. Could be that developers hit into complexity or defects are slipping in and they need to take their time to fight back the defects. And one interesting thing here also is, let me go back. that you cannot see this, right? And then you oftentimes have this watermelon reporting, right? Everyone says, green, green, green. And the lower you go in the hierarchy, people say, oof, fire everywhere, right? So here, it lacks of a way to measure and to create transparency, which also reaches the C-level. We do this, by the way, by taking data from the tools that are there in the software development departments. It's code as one data. It's coding, like the footprints of developers, by the way, anonymized. Otherwise, would be a workers' council's issue. Or the issues, the specifications that come in. So these are data sources that we take, and we can calculate how much of the developer budget is already value add time and how much is lost. This number of 27% is a typical number, means there's a big potential, right? And if you calculate this into money numbers, it means it's a lot of money actually wasted today, but could be converted to doing more for the business with the same amount of people or less people, depending how you want to manage this. And I already mentioned that a little bit. With AI now in the loop, all these risks and all these intransparency accelerates. And if you have good teams and they take AI tools, super good, fine, all the productivity promises can be harvested, and code bases are still fine, and everything is much faster and with less cost. But if you take average teams and where you have this kind of inefficiencies, things get worse with AI. By the way, if I say inefficient teams, I also could say it in a way like teams would describe. They say, wow, we are highly frustrated. So nobody wants to have inefficiency. Inefficiency equals frustration. And with our approach, a data-driven approach to make this transparent, we get rid of frustration for the teams, and at the same time, and this is the big goal, to have more capacity for creating business value add. So, data-driven approach, taking data from all the tools. One of the things we do is we know enterprise reality. Some developers use the tools like this, others like that. So there's a lot of heterogeneity typically, and also in parts of the organization, low maturity. So some people do not use the right tools at all. They're just coding without any specification first. So this is the reality that we face with our data-driven approach. And good news, we handle this, right? So this was our first learning when we started. Data is not so good there. So the algorithms, the AI approaches that we do, they have to cope with lack of data because of low processes sometimes. So good thing is, if you see, for example, productivity scores for teams, for departments, for agile release trains, it makes it possible for the management to improve the maturity of the teams, to improve their skills, because it's also being measured. This is a kind of detailed picture, but I'd like to explain some important things here. Specifically, I would like to explain in detail where all these things, the AI-based changes are happening. What Professor Döllner said in the morning, right? Or also the other talks. If you look at software development, you have, in general, you have requirements being converted to work items, stories, tasks, change requests, being picked by developers, converted into code, and then it goes into CI/CD testing, production, right? This is software development, by the way, in waterfall times, and same way in agile times, and now it comes, same way in AI times. So interestingly, nothing changes here from the workflow. And so we see this in our customers' organizations. We see We can measure productivity of teams who are pure waterfall methodology, agile methodology, scaled agile like SAFe or Spotify model, or if they take these AI coding assistants, or if AI agents are already in place. So it's the same thing, which means our approach also helps to govern and to navigate this transformation into the AI coding world. And you see here, for example, we replaced already some of the developers by AI coding tools, but also AI agents. Not only here, but also here, for example, code reviews. Yeah, it makes sense to use these technologies. And now, one very interesting aspect here, because this morning, Jürgen Dollner said, engineering or software development is going towards specification engineering. So the artifacts that the people are working on will be more and more specifications. And interestingly, if you observe this, for example, if you work with Cursor or these kind of IDEs, or the environments where developers work, the first thing that the AI agents do is creating a so-called markdown file. MD Markdown. By the way, this is the thing, it's a simple text format. It's this text format that ChatGPT also uses. If you press the copy button, it's in Markdown. So it's a simple way to capture text. And the first thing that happens if an AI agent or an AI coding tool is in place is that besides the real code, these Markdown files appear. So interestingly is that the specifications originally sitting here, they are becoming coding artifacts. So, and because Seerene looks at what kind of code is there, we now also see what kind of documentation is there, what kind of spec is there, how much effort, coding effort is going into the specification. We can see this seamlessly, right? And another very interesting aspect happening today is, because we talked about budgets, salaries, costs. This morning there was, I don't remember who said it, said there's another kind of cost coming up. The AI is not for free. And the money for AI is amount of tokens. How much tokens do they use? And the former CEO of GitHub, by the way, he founded a company in January. It's already $500 million valuation, and entire.io. It's a simple idea. The idea is that the code repository also captures every thinking process, every step of developers using coding tools or AI agents using coding tools, plus it stores the amount of tokens that are consumed. So again, because we monitor all this, we can now not only see how much developer time, salaries is being burned maybe because not taking nice specifications here, but like fighting back the defect backlogs. We can also do this for AI agents. And just because this morning, by the way, Jürgen Döllner said there was a cleaning task, I don't know, 15 minutes of thinking. 15 minutes of thinking means an AI agent has to go this cycle, I don't know, hundreds of times, every time consuming tokens. So it's a very costly thing, actually, right? And so good news is, because everything now, the artifacts of this are systematically stored and can be systematically read out and assessed. You can also have in future a view on the cost factors, how much the AI costs you. And by the way, the solutions to make AI less costly is the same solution than helping developers to work less costly. A big system, if you work in a big system, it means for a human being a high cognitive load. For an AI agent, it means a lot of tokens to consume to do something. And if you partition the system in architecture in small modules, also the AI agent gets much cheaper. So it's still the same principles you need to apply. So again, human in the loop. You still have an eye on all these architectures. You still need a lot of senior developers who oversee what's going on. But that's not enough. Because if you do this, if you look at one software system and how it's operating, it's good that you can do it for one system. But the bigger challenge is an organizational challenge. And the thing is now, you do not have one software system and one team. You probably have hundreds of them, sometimes thousands. And the question now is, from an organizational point of view, is my organization already working good or bad, or where can I help, right? Where do I need to put my management attention? And one thing that we've solved, because we do not compare code with what we do, we compare coding by humans, by AI agents. And that makes it possible to compare productivity across all these heterogeneities and aggregate it up to every management layer up to the top. So what we solved here is we can measure productivity in one number for the entire organization. Plus, there's a seamless way to go down and see where it's coming from, if things get better or worse. And for one example, one use case in the AI world would be, you see where down here the developers already use AI tooling because they're producing code faster, hopefully the right way, with not so much complexity and less defect fixing. Or you see here maybe some teams who say, oh, I don't touch these things, they just kill my my future job. So you have a way to oversee your entire organization. And this is something new and groundbreaking, because as of today, every kind of measurement you approach out there is only designed and conceptually limited to the level of one single team. It's not designed to be comparable. So we are the first one who make this possible, comparing across heterogeneity, across teams, and lifting this up to the top. And maybe just to give you a brief glimpse how this looks like then. Forgot one thing. We create transparency, right? From technical raw data to management understandable KPIs, common sense KPIs, efficiency, productivity, plus actionable items, because actionable item means, okay, if efficiency goes down, you see where it comes from in the organization. So it's the typical management cascade that happens here. And very important here is that this unfolds a psychological effect. Suddenly, everyone has everyone means like a department, solution train, age release, and whatever level has his or her own productivity KPI numbers, and she knows that it's also been seen on the level up. So this is a very positive way of bringing a mindset of continuous improvement into the organization, which would be a super difficult change process otherwise. But with this transparency, full transparency across everything, you get this for free. Just shortly, some remarks also, because this is interesting what we see in our organization. We create transparency, which means from subjective debate, it goes to objectivity. One small remark with how we use it here, it works in all data situations. In the state-of-the-art approaches means teams need to work differently beforehand so that the data is correct, the raw data, so that the KPIs can be corrected, so that then nothing will happen if you have to do the teams, or that the teams work differently. And another thing, just to mention this is a very a human thing, right? Transparency also creates a lot of fear, or can create a fear. That's why um, when we engage with a new customer, have a collaboration, we are there to take the fear out of, for example, the mid-level management. It's the first time that it's in numbers how they perform. They are comparable for the first time. Could create a lot of resistance in the organization, or any other senior architects, even workers councils, right? With Seerene, the good thing is everything is anonymized, so it's not possible to drill down to individuals, but still you get these numbers. So very important in the Central European area to be able to do what we do without going to the personal related data area and trying to assess individuals. I already told about these effect that you create with this full transparency. It's a psychological effect, and it's very strong. The only thing you need to do as on a top level management position is every month doing a maybe 1 hour meeting, maybe just take one of the meetings that you already have with the head of level 1 -1, and look at their numbers, the overall numbers and their numbers, and see if the trends are going up or not. And just doing this, so a very, very small management time investment, maximum 1 hour per month, creates this cascade of psychology that everyone tries to prepare, right, and tries to get better because their numbers are now being seen. Maybe just a glimpse how it would look like. For example, you sit there every month, you see for every org unit how much developer power is being invested, or tokens if you're already in the AI world. How efficient is it? Is it going up or down compared to the last month? Okay, here one of the org units, it's going down. You can go into details. You see like what kind of efficiency is it that steals the money, right? Or that could be improved. This is already detail, right? As a management layer, the top level numbers is fine, but everyone now can drill down and see where it comes from. And one psychological effect, you can also project this into the entire, into the hierarchical responsibility structure of the organization. So you don't see the lines here, but this is like everything, and you see how it drills down to domains, to departments, to teams. And if something like this happens, then it's fine, because if the efficient part has been increased compared to the last month. If it goes in the other direction, like here where it gets more red, not so good. So again, here the psychology plays a big role, and teams can drill down, can see their own numbers. Woo, a lot of frustrating defect fixing. Just only like 17% of their time is value add. The other is frustrating stuff. They can communicate. That's difficult to see. It's like this is like the deepest level of exploration here, where you see the code landscapes, individual code files where developers fighting with problems, etc. So they can also better communicate to the business side, saying, yeah, sure, we could go on like this. Yeah, but it's not good for nobody. For us, not, because we're just fighting frustrating stuff, defects, and yeah, we cannot produce value. So we would have some kind of test automation or whatever, right? So it also, what we create with the transparency is also something like an advocate for teams additionally. And the primary goal is to lift the inefficiency in your organization. And uh, yeah, uh, uh, yeah, just to mention it again, because we're in the German-speaking area and Workers' Council, GDPR has always a big role. So this is something what we check marked, right? Because otherwise would be tricky. Also, IT security, and yeah, it allows you to go into some kind of autopilot mode with just these 1 hour per month to help your own organization to improve in an intrinsic way on all levels at the same time. And as I showed initially from the numbers perspective, it's having this kind of transparency is not a nice to have thing, it's a must have. It was already a must have. It was not possible because like the technical DORA meetings, you spoke about the DORA, the banking DORA, but the technical DORA meeting, all these team metrics, it doesn't help. You need something that scales up to the top to drive this psychological effect. And this is now possible. And in times of AI and agentic AI, it's a must have, because you can create a lot of harm, or there is a lot of harm being created in your organization if you do not put the governance layer on top. And good news is, it's possible today to have that kind of governance. And yeah, that's my talk, and maybe you have some questions.
Oh yeah.
Hans, thanks a lot for the presentation. In the past, we had in the software development a continuous speed with the agile process. And now our developers, they feel a little bit like Formula One pilots. So speed with this fast AI machine, and then wait for the next specification, because the bottleneck is the PO, as the product owner, or the business analyst. And can you analyze this wait times in your platform?
Yeah, what you described, by the way, is now a shift happening, right? Because the coding itself is much faster, and then the bottleneck, as you said, the bottleneck is feeding the system with new specifications, right? And we see this in the numbers, by the way. We see like a car engine, like goes like whoop, and then whoop, and it produces in the KPI, by the way, like throughput, like how much code is being produced divided by time. You see these peaks, and then it gets in waiting time, like these curves. And exactly, and the good thing is you can see this where something like this happens in your organization, and where you have this spike way of doing it, and where it's already a linear thing and on a higher level because it's faster, right? This means you're not only improving because we talked also about gluing together business and IT. Here we speak about the product owner, which is like the one who is feeding the IT with specification. You see, by measuring, you see where in the organization the product owner, the business side, needs help, needs maybe more time for doing the specification parts.
So also, thank you for the presentation. My question would be, how do your customers who have all the insights of the world about their software production, how do they turn this insight into actionable advice or really changes to be made? How is this working? How do you support this?
Yeah, generally, one ingredient for bringing these KPIs to a lived improvement process in the entire organization. The most important ingredient here is that the top level leader is driving this. Driving does not mean like sitting in the steering wheel all the time, but giving these impulse every month. And this already creates action items on the next management level, right? Because when the next month comes, in 1 week we have this meeting, they're starting to looking at their numbers. And then the next management cascade comes into play, because they say, whoa, what's happening here? Something much more inefficiency, maybe more code, but more bug fixing. How can I support in terms of servant leadership, right? Maybe they're using these AI tools not quite well. So this is actionable items that automatically create along the management cascade. And the last level of actionable items is then the teams themselves, who typically live with old code, problems in the code, so-called technical debt, and who can then better pinpoint the problems, get rid of them, and communicate to the business side, the product owner, that they in the next development cycle that they should not do like 10 new requirements, but maybe only 9, and some cleanups here and there. And the good thing is that at night, it already measures if these small improvements are convert into less inefficiency and more power of the developer. So it's a closed loop of actionable items on all levels.